Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs. Today is May 11th, 2022. It's approximately 7:05 p.m. I call this meeting to order virtually. The meeting is being conducted virtually via the Zoom application. And every member of the public will have an opportunity to be heard. Mr. Luciano, please.
Yeah, well, David's trying to get in. He's in the waiting room.
Oh, that's fine. We're all adults. Mr. Lee Gregorio knows how to get in.
No, well, he can't get in unless he's let in.
Well, he's also very late. Okay, enough. So I call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect that Di Gregorio and Luciano were late.
Let the record
Madam Clerk, would you please read into the record the statement of compliance?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this meeting through a legal notice published in the record, posted on the borough website and on the bulletin board.
Okay. Councilman, you ran on a platform of transparency, so please turn your cameras on and be transparent so the public can see you as you see them. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Kranjak,
Here.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Di Gregorio, Councilmember Di Gregorio, you're on mute, okay. Councilmember
Present.
Luciano,
I'm here. Thank you.
Councilmember Luciano,
Yes,
Council President Katrubis,
Yes.
Attorney Mensch,
Here.
Administrator Rath.
Present.
Everybody else in.
Okay, please all rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just I'd like to have a moment of silence for, out of respect for Englewood Cliffs retired police officer James Shalhoub, who recently passed away. A moment of silence, please, and our condolences go out to his family. Okay, I also want to just give you an update. There's, in terms of COVID-19, we've had 16 COVID-19 positives this week. So it's still hovering, it's still out there. No one is getting as ill as people were getting initially. So hopefully we're coming out of this. And also, just wanted for the public's information, there is a walking club every Friday evening at 7 p.m. It's a lot of fun. I did it last week or 2 weeks ago. And I encourage everyone to participate in that. The recreation department has been doing a very good job. We're also trying to get a bike safety day together for children to learn some bike safety from Strictly Bicycles. They're going to come up and give us some instruction on bike safety. Then also just, there's some confusion for the public and actually for the council as well. But essentially there are two open council seats. One was vacated per council ordinance, or resolution rather, 2021-193. I had asked that be repealed and that Republican seat be filled. And then subsequent also Raymond Farrow resigned from the council. So that's another Republican seat that needed to be filled. There had been some back and forth from the Englewood Cliffs Republican County Committee in terms of voting. There's issues that it wasn't done properly in terms of the constitution of that committee. And then there was also 3 names were provided last meeting. One of the names was not a registered Republican, and then there's an allegation that the borough clerk went over to the county and changed the political party affiliation of that third individual. So there's a lot of flux, there's a lot of confusion, and anything simple seems to always get complicated in this town. It's no way to run a railroad or a town. So I encourage everyone that has any hand in these appointments or selections, just follow the rules. It's very simple. You just frustrate everybody, and you cast negative light on yourselves when you don't follow the rules. And then it's all about the cover up, isn't it? Right? And that's the stage we're at right now. And I don't know why this is all happening, but I cannot support anybody being appointed to council right now until 2 seats are filled the right way. It's just not right. And I see Ms. Begets is here. I have a lot of respect for you, and I appreciate everything you've tried to do for our town. But the process must not be tainted. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. The rules have to be followed. And even if you're a Republican, and I'm a Republican, God knows I am, if you're not following the rules, I'm going to call you out on it. Okay? I don't want to be part of anything that's not done right. That being said,
Can I be recognized, please?
Mr. Luciano, yes, I recognize you.
Thank you, sir. First off, I would like to request, I think all the answers.
You're echoing, Mr. Luciano. I cannot hear you, and I don't think the public can either.
I
You're
can't
echoing.
control the echo. I mean, I'm just on my computer, but
Are
I'd
you
like to
sitting?
request that,
You're sitting next to Mr. Di Gregorio. Maybe one of you could turn off your microphone so the echo will stop.
well, Mr. Di Gregorio is on the other side of the room, but I
Okay,
hope
that's better. Whatever you just did is better. Go ahead.
I didn't do anything. But I think that
He did though.
our borough attorney has answered all those issues pretty eloquently, and I kind of agree with him. Well, not kind of, I do agree with what he had said. The second thing that I think that, just for transparency, because we all talk about transparency,
What did he say?
I would like to request that, well, I think you got the email. I like you tell me, I can't, we can only send it to you, but we can't.
No, but I get a lot of emails from him.
Maybe understand it, so.
No, I get a lot of emails from him. I
But
don't think
the
there's any
issue being
clarity.
is that my request would be is that all the emails that we had received from the Republican, Englewood Cliffs Republican Party president be made part of the record, be part of our minutes, so that the public, instead of just hearing from what we want to, the picture we want to paint, that they could actually see what the party president had said. So I would ask that those be included in the minutes. I would also have a question of the mayor, because
That's something that you could direct.
the
to-
last time excuse me, sir?
no one is in charge of minutes except the clerk. So the clerk can put whatever she wants in, and the council, as always, can approve or disapprove those
Well,
minutes.
since those emails are technically not part of our council meeting, I
Okay.
am requesting that those emails, even though they're not
Well, why don't you make
confidential,
them?
they're not
Yeah,
attorney-client privilege.
that's fine.
Anybody
Why
can
don't you read
open
them? Read them
but
into the record.
Instead of them being, having to be Oprah'd, I would just like to make them part of the minutes.
Right, so if you make them part of the minutes and they're not part of the meeting, as you acknowledge, then you can read them into the minutes right now if you want. That's the way you do it.
No, I don't think that's the way you do it. I think they can just be entered into the minutes as received. The
They're
other
not,
part that I
they're
have
not part of the
questions, you know,
meeting.
is
How are
that
they part of the meeting if you don't read them?
we were accused of, Mr. Mensch, can you clarify that for us? I mean, because, Mr. Kranjak can just espouse anything he wants, which 99.9% of the time is false and incorrect. So, I mean, even we introduce ordinances by title alone. So I'm a little lost. If Mr. Mensch, can you just clarify that? If at our request, can they just be entered into the minutes?
I don't see any reason why you can't append them to the end of the minutes. They're part of the record supporting the appointment. So whether it's appended as part of the minutes or appended as part of the resolution, or the resolution, in front of the action here with regard to the seat, as you pointed out.
How is that part of the meeting?
Thank you, sir.
Well,
The other.
Mayor, you
I'm sorry.
can make them public, so you can just attach them as part of an addendum to the minutes.
Well, we have people from the public here. We have 25 people who are going to listen to this meeting. And if the minutes are going to have them appended, they should have the opportunity to hear what was said and what was written.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you have a copy of them. Would you care to read them all?
I don't have it handy, but go ahead if you want.
Yeah, I don't have them handy either. I know that we all got them, and like you keep telling me, they can be sent to you, but I can't make you read them or understand them,
No,
so
I read them. That's
I'm just
different.
gonna go by what
That's
your words
different.
are.
No, well,
So,
that's different because
My
I
last
did read
question
them.
that I have,
Like
that
I
you
said, I
continue
don't
to
have them handy.
interrupt.
Like
since I thought I
I
had
said,
the-
I did
I
read
thought I
them,
had the
Mr.
floor.
Luciano. I did read them. I don't want to keep talking
I think
over you
the
because
question that I have for you,
you're
Mr.
not being
Mayor,
properly,
is that
you're not
you, the
speaking
last
properly
time
here.
we
So
were
here,
going
let
to
me find them
appoint-
for you, Mr. Luciano.
we were
Here.
going to appoint,
Here, let me read them for you. This
Okay,
is
go
from
ahead.
Mary O'Shea. It has come to my attention that the Englewood Cliffs Republican Committee had a meeting last evening to select someone to fill the seat vacated by Ramon Farrow, Councilman Ramon Farrow. The Englewood Cliffs Republican County Committee held this meeting even though they are aware that they are improperly constituted. Not only are they improperly constituted, Republican County Committee Chair Ms. Pangiota Rizzulli is aware that one of the three names, Tamana Nahar, was not a registered Republican at the time the county committee voted on 4/19/22. And at that time, the name was submitted, 4/21/22. Ms. Nahar's request for party affiliation change form was filled out on April 21, 2022. According to the Bergen County Superintendent of Elections sign-in log, Deputy Borough Clerk Laura Borchers signed in on April 22nd, 2022 at 2:13 p.m. and brought this form to the county, and it was validated in at 2:17 p.m. Is this information correct? Did the Deputy Borough Clerk transport political paperwork for a political party and hand it in to the Superintendent of Elections during a work day? Was the Deputy Borough Clerk transporting this document to Hackensack at the request of a borough official? Did the Deputy Borough Clerk notify anyone that one of the three names is not a registered Republican? This is not only impropriety that took place. This is not the only impropriety that took place. It is my opinion that the entire process has been tainted. I have just now brought to your attention additional improprieties that may have involved a borough employee, has involved a borough attorney and a borough councilman. Are there any other improprieties that we have not yet learned about? So those are all really good questions, and I would love to have somebody answer them, but nobody
can
has
you,
answered.
Mr. Mayor, can you please read the whole string? 'Cause I'd like the whole string entered into the record.
I don't have anything else. I printed that one out specifically
Oh, okay, well,
tonight.
I'm requesting that the whole entire, not the ones that Mr. Kranjak wants to select and only put that
Well,
one
go ahead
forward.
and read them
Because
in.
there are about 20 of them that went back and forth, and I'm not gonna, because I know you want to belabor the whole meeting, but all
No,
I'm
I don't
asking
actually,
for
but we're here to
is
meet,
that-
so you're
that
the one bringing this
all
up.
the
so why don't
string
you
of
read 'em in?
emails in regard to that email be entered into the record. The second part that I have is when we did not sit the open council seat with a woman, you made a big deal about how we were anti-woman. And we tried to.
Well,
we
you are,
approved-
because you use
Ms.
foul language in front of women all the
Gags,
time.
We used Ms. Begaggs. We tried to vote her in the last time, or the council tried to vote her in, and you made the decision to vote no.
Then
So
you
my
voted
question
Kinga
to
out,
you,
and you
are-
voted Kinga out.
unless you're just like other councilmen have said to you that you're two-faced and you're a liar, but are you anti-woman? Because that's exactly what you did and
Absolutely
attempted to
not. Absolutely
accuse
not. I think I
Councilman
explained
Di
that properly.
Gregorio and
Well, no, I'll
myself
give you a
for
break.
being that exactly
All
it.
right.
So
Well,
just
when
so the
you're- when-
public
when you're
knows
when
that.
you're finished speaking, are you
Yeah,
finished?
I know.
Could you ask
When
me a
I'm finished-
question? All right, so now just keep your mouth shut for 5 minutes.
Well, if you're going
We-
to talk
we
to me
had,
that way,
we
you
had Ms.
talked over
Kinga
me the whole
Zemecki.
time, so please.
Okay, no, we had Ms. Kinga Zemecki sworn in, and you refused to seat her. Mr. Katrubis refused to seat her. Mr. Park refused to see her. Mr. Di Gregorio refused to see her. I support Rivka Begets. I campaigned for her.
I
But
know,
the
but you
process has
didn't
been
vote for her.
tainted. So get your facts straight.
But you made the vote to
process has
vote
been
not seat her.
tainted. The process has been tainted.
You made the
You're
vote
now
to
part
not
of that
seat her.
taint.
You made the
I
vote to
will
not seat her.
not, I will not permit
You
a
made the vote to
Republican
not
or
seat
a
her.
Democrat to cheat the taxpayers and the residents of Englewood Cliffs by not following the rules. And that's why today we have a new police chief because the old guy didn't follow the rules. Where is he? He's gone. Okay.
Soon we'll have
Where's the
a new
former
mayor, and
clerk?
you'll be gone.
She's gone. because people need to follow the rules, and that includes you.
I follow the rules, unlike yourself.
Okay, so fine, it's in the record now.
Thank you.
Ms. Borchers,
That's
can
all
you
I
please
had.
confirm that you
Let's go
actually
with the
went?
swearing in.
Ms. Borchers, please confirm that you actually went to the county.
Let's
clerk's office.
continue with the swearing in.
Ms. Borchers, can you confirm that you went to the county clerk office to deliver a party affiliation change?
I don't
So
think she
as
needs to
inclu-
answer
Matt, can you
that.
please hold on, Ms. Borges. Matt, can you please step in front of this for a moment?
Yeah, this is
Because I don't trust the mayor
inappropriate.
as far as I can throw her.
This-
I'm asking her a simple question that she was answering.
Listen,
Thank you.
let's-
I said, I want Mr. Mensch stepping in
When
front
his
of me.
mouth is moving.
Why are you protecting a?
I'm not
question like
protecting
that?
anyone. I'm protecting the employees like I would protect any
No,
other.
Like you want us to do.
Ms.
But
Borchers,
you
did
gotta be very
Mr.
careful
Katrubis
with
ask
what
you to
you
go
say,
to the
Mario.
county clerk's office?
So
No?
every,
You
first
shaking
of
your head
all,
no.
this,
Uh,
we should be swearing in Ms. Begets at this point in time because
We
we're
should
well
be
past the
swearing
point
in
of the
Ms.
agenda.
Zemecki at this time and
So-
Mr. Getz.
so-
There's two
Well,
vacancies.
Mr. Mensch, if he refuses to, can you just please complete and
No,
swear
no,
her in?
it's not up to me, Mr. Luciano.
It's already-
It's a county, it's a council decision, not
It's,
mine.
there's no, gentlemen, there's no decision to make with regard to this council person. There's no action the council needs to take
Mr.
other than
Mensch,
simply
you're-
swearing her
you're-
in.
But you wouldn't swear Ms. Zemecki in, right? You
Well,
wouldn't
that's
swear her
correct
in,
because.
but she
because
was
that's-
actually sworn in already and you
Right.
wouldn't see her.
So that's an entirely different situation and you know
Right,
that.
because this is somebody that you want, that the other person you didn't
So-
want.
So I don't
And who
want
are
to
you,
just want
Mr.
anybody.
Mensch? Mr. Mensch, who are you? I see you're getting
I'm
sued
sorry.
by
Can we,
BLM.
can we
Can
please
I
stop
make a
this and move
motion
on
to
with the
mute the
agenda? I
mayor?
don't want to spend all night here.
I
No,
make
so-
a motion to
so-
mute the mayor.
Second,
Okay,
Can
hold
we
on.
back
We need-
all the
No,
questions?
there's no
Mr. Mensch,
muting.
you said that
You
if
wanna
Eric
swear
mute the
somebody
mayor.
in,
Okay.
you get
can
to
we
do
mute
that.
the mayor?
No,
No,
everybody,
We have a
Laura, do not
vote to
mute
mute
me.
the mayor.
hold
That'll be
on.
the last time
We
you mute
can't-
anyone, Laura. Do not
We
mute.
we can't just mute the mayor. Okay, so under Robert's rules, there's a whole process. If we're going to start sanctioning members, it's a whole thing. It's not just a matter of making a motion. So I believe that at this point in time, we should swear in Ms. Begets because that's what we need to do. She's by operation of law. She's already qualified. There's no action the council needs to take. She
And how
simply
is
needs.
that different, Mr. Mensch, than Ms. Zemecki? She was sworn in.
No, Mayor, because the council passed a resolution specifically saying we're not filling the seat. That's what's
after-
different.
After she was sworn in, though.
No,
This
they
is
didn't.
why- This is
No.
why you're gonna get sued.
No, not after she was sworn in, Mayor, and you know that.
She was sworn in first, and then
No.
you vacated that seat.
No, that's not true, Mayor. And if it was,
No, it is.
and
No,
if
it
it was,
is.
anybody
You
who
would've
wanted to
challenged
challenge that, anyone who wanted to challenge that had 45 days to do so. They didn't do it, Mayor, and you know that.
Look, we
So,
know that this is
this-
all about Mr. Katrubis getting a committee, so his.
this-
It's all about lip service from the mayor.
So the difference for anybody who's interested, the difference between the other seat and this seat is with
No,
the
Mr.
Councilman Wu
No,
seat.
Mr. Mensch, you
The
know what,
council
Mr. Mensch?
specifically,
You speak
The
out of
council
both sides of
specifically
your
voted
mouth.
to keep it vacant. In this instance, the council took no action at
Mr.
the last
Mensch, you
meeting.
Speak out of both
There-
sides of your mouth.
Therefore,
Mr.
by
Mensch, no
operation
one
of law,
believes you.
this goes
Mr.
back
Mensch, no
to,
one believes
this goes
you.
back to the county
Not a
committee.
word you
The
say.
county
is
committee
truthful.
has indicated
Mr.
that they
Mensch,
have
not a
selected
word. Mr.
Rivka
Mensch, you don't
Begets,
have the floor, Mr.
and
Mensch.
as a result,
Mr. Mensch, you
Rivka
don't have the
Begets
floor.
now needs to have her oath
Mr.
sworn
Mensch,
into her.
you're doing the bidding of people who you should not be doing the bidding of. We, the borough, are paying you.
Mario, this
And-
needs to stop. Can we just act like professionals and
Mr.
move on?
Katrubis, Mr.
If you have a
Mensch.
grievance, take it up in Hackensack like
Mr.
you normally
Katrubis,
do.
Ms.
okay?
Borchers was
Please.
answering a
Enough.
question.
Let's
Ms.
just move
Borchers,
on.
did you or did you not go to the county
There
clerk's
is-
office?
Mr. Mensch, tell us the procedure, because the only way we're going to be able
Borchers,
to
did
stop
you or
the
did you
mayor
not go?
There is
from
no-
interrupting
no,
everybody.
There is no
Borchers,
process
did you go to
here
the
for
county
delaying,
election committee's
for delaying this. If there is an inquiry into any employee's behavior, the proper form for doing that is through action outside of a council meeting. The
We're
town- the
in
township
public
administrator-
session here, Mr. Mensch.
Right,
I'm
and that's
asking
my
the-
point. That's
and
my
I'm
point,
asking
Mayor.
the Deputy clerk,
That's-
a simple question. Did
Right.
you or did you not
And-
go to the county clerk's office with a change of political affiliation form?
And
Yes
what I'm
or
telling
no?
you, what I'm telling you
Mr.
is
Mensch, let
that.
her answer that question.
No, what I'm telling you is that would put the borough at risk. If there is a question about employee conduct, then it should be done in a proper fashion. This is not it. But by the way, even if she
I'm
did
just
take
asking
a,
a question.
even if she did take a change form over there, that's exactly what she's supposed to do, because as the acting clerk, she is the chief election official in the borough. So if somebody dropped off a change
Oh,
of
so you
party
say it's
affiliation
okay.
form, then it would be her obligation to make sure it gets to the right place, which is the county.
So
People
if if I change my political affiliation, I could ask Ms. Borchers tomorrow to go change my political affiliation.
yes, if you dropped it off there, absolutely. She's the chief election official in the township,
Thank
in
you
the
for
borough.
explaining that to us, Mr. Mensch.
So
As expected, you don't follow the rules or the laws, Mr.
So,
Mensch.
so the
This is not
whole
Bridgewater,
issue,
sir.
so the whole
This is a
issue
real
is moot
town.
to begin with.
Oh,
So at this point in time, we should be swearing in Ms. Begets and moving on with the rest of the agenda.
I think it's clear to the public what happened here. And Mr. Mensch, to members of the public, he's bending the truth and he's bending the law. So do as you wish, counsel.
Okay, Ms. Begets, can you hear me? Okay, I'm
You're
gonna ask
muted,
you,
Ms. Begets.
Jesus, get her check.
But by the way, Ms. Borchers, did you or did you not go?
I'm gonna raise your right hand, Ms. Begets.
Wait,
You
let
have to
me
stop,
unmute
stop
her.
grilling the,
Okay, hold on, are we unmuting Ms.
I did
Begets?
unmute her.
Okay, I'm gonna read your oath. Please repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Rivka Begats,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in the state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of people,
and that I will faithfully,
and I would faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of councilperson of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs,
of the office of councilperson, the Borough of Englewood Cliffs,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you all.
So Ms. Begets.
congratulations.
Thank you,
There needs
thank
to
you,
be a
David.
vote to seat you, but I want to thank you and congratulate you also.
Thank
as
you.
Well, again,
if he is
the process was
anti-woman.
tainted, so I can't guarantee that you'll be on for long, but
I'm
again,
not worried about that.
yeah, okay, that's fine. But I demand, and I'm going to tell you this and the whole council, follow the rules, follow the laws. Don't follow Mensch, don't follow Katrubis. They're gonna
Mr.
get
Mayor,
all
would
the
ask
trouble.
you to follow the rules.
The other
and the
thing
law
is,
as well.
do we need to have a vote now to seat Ms.?
No, There's no vote needed, Mayor. There's no further action. She's now a
Really?
council
Because
person.
when Kinga Zemecki was sworn in, there was a vote needed, according to you, Mr. Mensch.
That
Now
was to
there's not.
vacate, keep it vacant. That's why, Mayor. You're
Well,
an
no,
attorney.
because she
You
was
should
sworn in
know.
before,
You
so.
know, you said you passed 2 bar exams. You should really know this.
Well, actually, I
There's-
also graduated high school, which you probably did not, but
I
that's.
didn't
a different
graduate
story.
kindergarten.
There's no action that's needed. We just need to.
Okay, so
we'll
Mr.
do a-
Mensch, I understand that you change the rules and the laws as you wish, and this council goes along with you. But there will
Should
be
we
a
call
day
him
of
Mr.
reckoning. I
Bernstein
assure
now?
you. Okay, next
Mr.
on
Mensch,
the
we'll just call
agenda.
Mr. Bernstein from now
Next
on.
on the agenda is closed session.
We should have a
Motion to
roll
go
call,
into
Mayor.
closed session.
We should do a roll call of the full council now.
Councilmember Park,
Yes, here.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
Yes.
No, this is the official roll call after the council member.
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Luciano,
I'm present.
Councilmember Begets,
Here,
Council President Katrubis.
Here.
Okay, can I have a motion to go into closed session, please?
Make the motion.
Can I have a
Second,
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, to the public, we're going into closed session. We'll probably be about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back out, okay?
Sorry, Mayor. Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs has deemed it necessary to go into closed session to discuss certain confidential matters, and whereas the minutes of this closed session will remain confidential as permitted under the Open Public Meetings Act, or shall be released where there is no further need for confidentiality, as authorized by the borough attorney. Now therefore be resolved that mayor and council of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs will go into closed session for the following matters as permitted under the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12. for Fair Housing versus Englewood Cliffs, docket number BER 12138-22, 800 Silver and affordable housing related litigations and updates on all litigations.
Okay, let's go. Can I have a motion to come out of closed session, please?
I'll make the motion to come out.
second,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so thank you to the public for your patience. We went through many items in closed session of a confidential or attorney-client privilege nature. There are several motions, resolutions that needed to be added to the agenda regarding the retention of counsel, special counsel. So Mr. Mensch, why don't you frame the motion so that somebody on council could move it.
Understood. I'm going to do it in two motions. This really isn't, this isn't replaced for the most part of resolution 22-129, which is on the agenda, authorizing additional legal services to Jerry Dasty Esquire. This will be broken up into two parts. The first is to authorize Mr. Dasty to file an appeal of the attorney's fees awards in the Troutner litigation and to seek a stay of a payment of those fees pending the appeal.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
There's a second. Okay, discussion. We've discussed it in closed session.
Who made the second,
Who
Mayor?
Seconded, Mayor, I didn't hear.
Mr. Park,
Mr. Parker.
And just Laura, if we
Yes,
may, for a point of order, since since Councilwoman Begach is filling in for Ramon, can you please keep the same order of voting? She should vote first as Ramon did.
she's not filling in. She has
No,
been.
she took his seat and she should vote where he voted.
All right, I'm gonna make the motion. I'll make a motion to table what Mr. Mensch just said, and I'm gonna make a motion to have the roll call where Mr. Di Gregorio's first, Glenn Luciano's second, Mr. Park is third, Mrs. Villegas is fourth, and I'm last.
Unfortunately, the bylaws say they stay the same. So
Is
if
that
you're going to
true?
say that the council thing is a one-year appointment, read the bylaws. What's
All right,
established
well, I'm not an expert in the bylaws.
established at the
so-
Mr. Mensch,
reorganization
Mr.
meeting
Mensch,
is the
even
voting, is the
just-
voting as it stands for the year.
You don't have the floor, Mr. Luciano. I'm
No,
asking
but
Mr.
I'm
Mensch for a
just
legal
responding to
opinion. You are-
Councilman Katrubis's
Mr.
comment.
Luciano, you can't just jump in, okay?
Well, if
Please
Tim-
follow
if
Robert's
Councilman
rules of order.
Katrubis can jump in, I can jump in.
No, Mr. Katrubis was recognized by me. I have an issue with you jumping in, as I've always done, okay?
I have an issue with you
Mr.
speaking.
Mensch, can the order of voting be changed? Yes or no?
I'm looking right now, Mayor. It indicates, the bylaws indicate Article 2, Section 1, the mayor shall preside over the meetings of thereof of the mayor and council. The seating order for all meetings shall be established at the initial meeting of the council by vote of the council. Such seating order shall remain for all successive meetings of the mayor and council unless and until another vote is taken to establish another seating order.
Okay, that's what we're doing. Mr. Katrubis, can you repeat the order that you wish?
Well, there's already a motion and a second on the floor.
Mr. Katrubis,
There's
So
already,
I believe-
you follow Robert's Rules of Order. There's already a motion and a second on the
there's a
floor.
motion to
Motion
table.
appoint,
There was a motion to table, right?
and
Mr.
there was no second.
So I think we need to vote on the motion to table the authorization to appoint Dasty. That's the motion that's currently pending.
Okay, let's vote to table.
And
We'll go
that,
to Mr. Katrubis, and then we'll come back to the actual Dasty motion, okay? There's a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Could I have a, Ms. Borchers, do the roll call?
Member Begets?
Here.
This is aye or nay.
Oh, you're talking about what, tabling?
This is to table, as Mr.
Yes.
Katrubis moved, yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
I already voted yes.
Councilmember Luciano?
No.
Councilmember Di Gregorio?
No.
Council President Katrubis?
Yes.
Okay, it's tabled. Mr. Katrubis, you had a subsequent motion you wish to.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to change the vote order from first to Mr. Di Gregorio, second to Mr. Luciano, third to Mr. Park, fourth to Ms. Bias, and last to me. May I have second, please?
Second,
Okay.
Okay, can I have a roll call?
Well, can we just have discussion very quickly?
Watch what you wish for, Tim.
That's fine. I thought we did discuss it, but go ahead.
Yeah, look, I don't know why there's any reason to be upset about the change in the roll call. It's her first, it's Ms. Bigas's first day. Let's have a little bit of compassion. That's really what this is all about. If we could just, it's nothing personal, gentlemen. I just don't want to, she should have every opportunity to be able to think things through as much as she can. That's really what this is all about. Thank you. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Can you just say
No,
that
I'm
for me
not- I'm used
one
to
more
it.
time,
It's
please?
okay.
Can you tell us how to pronounce your last name, please?
It's Bigats,
Bigas.
Bigats, not Bigats. It's not Italian. It's Bigats.
Bigas. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to confirm the order, please. It's Di Gregorio, Luciano, Park, Bigots, and Katrubis,
Right. Yes.
correct?
Okay.
Okay.
And we're voting on that.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
Well, it should
Laura,
still be
until the
the old
motion
way
passes-
until it changes.
oh, I'm sorry, do the old way, sorry about that. Councilmember Begets,
Yes.
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Luciano,
Well, it's David first, but either way, it's not gonna matter, no.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No.
Council President Katrubis.
Yes.
Okay, now we go back to the initial motion to appoint Dasty as read into the record by Mr. Mensch. Do you have a motion for that?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Is there discussion?
No.
Okay. So I have Councilmember Begets,
Now it's to order.
No, no, no. You have to order.
oh, this is so confusing.
I know it's confusing.
It would have been easy if we would have just replaced the one vote, but Tim wanted to change it, so
You're not
Councilman Di
recognized.
Gregorio first.
it doesn't matter if I'm recognized.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No.
No,
Councilmember Luciano is no. Councilmember Park,
Wait, no, wait, Ms. Borchers, what he just did is improper. You call his name, and then he votes.
no,
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Begets,
Yes.
Council President Katrubis.
Yes.
you wanted it really to have time, you should have made
Yes,
her
to
go
know.
last.
Okay, Kevin well, let me just go down the agenda.
Thank you for
Department-
understanding, everybody.
Mayor, you want me to make the other motions too, correct, Mayor?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the other part of this is that's to appoint Mr. Dasty's firm to represent the borough on the fair share housing versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs matter, which was newly filed and doesn't yet have a council of record, and to transfer the 800 Sylvan versus Borough of Englewood Cliffs matter was with Mr. Bernstein, is now with my office, and that should be transferred over to Mr. Dasty as well.
Okay, can I have a motion?
Yeah, I want to make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? We discussed it already in closed session. If not, can I have a roll?
I just think that the public needs to know the gravity of this lawsuit. This could blow the roof off Englewood Cliffs.
Okay, can I have a vote, please?
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No.
No,
Councilmember Luciano, Councilmember
Okay.
Park,
No,
Yes.
you get an answer, Ms. Borchers. Make sure you get an answer.
no. You heard me before, Mayor. You can keep playing your games.
No, your name has to be
No,
called
no.
and then you vote. Otherwise,
No.
your vote is not valid.
No, no,
Okay?
no.
Follow the rules for once in your
No,
life.
no.
Go ahead, Ms. Borchers.
Councilmember Begets,
Abstain.
Council President Katurbis.
Yes.
Okay, the
Yes.
motion fails.
Motion fails. Okay.
Councilwoman, just so you understand that under the bylaws in Englewood Cliffs, as they currently are written, a motion only passes if it receives a majority vote of those present. So because there's 5 members present, a motion will require 3 affirmative votes. So an abstention, while not a no vote, acts as a no vote.
I understand.
Okay, so
Okay,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mr. Mensch,
Personal liability part, Mr. Mensch, that I think she's wisely voted no
Mr.
for.
Mensch, if you're doing your job, you would have explained that before this, okay? but-
the
okay. Let me just confirm, Mr. Mensch, you don't have the floor. Ms. Begets.
No, she already voted.
Ms. Begets,
Don't
She already
worry.
voted.
let me, please, don't interrupt. I just
She
want to
already
make
did that
sure that she's not
David
changing her
multiple
vote.
times. She already voted.
Ms. Begets, are you keeping your vote as an abstain?
Yes.
so
Okay,
we'll have to discuss this later, but as of right now, the borough does not have representation to defend itself in the fair share housing affirmative complaint. I can continue to represent the borough in the 800 Sylvan case, but I will not represent the borough in the fair share housing complaint. We'll need to find counsel for that. So I'll enter any necessary appearances in the short term, but we'll need to find long-term
Okay.
counsel for that. And then the last motion from closed session was a motion to resolve any outstanding disputes with Mr. Bernstein's firm to be resolved by paying half of the outstanding bills currently due, subject to appropriate releases. So that would be the other motion.
This was
make
for
the motion.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mensch. This is
Bernstein
for
bills, Mr. Luciano.
Bernstein bills.
is there
Yeah,
a
I'll make the
motion?
motion. I'll
Second,
make the motion.
I will make second.
Is there discussion?
Second,
Yeah, there's discussion because just so the public's aware, this is the old attorney that Mr. Kranjak had for us that, in all honesty, in my opinion, wasn't really doing a very good job for Englewood Cliffs and was really just doing a very good job for Mayor Kranjak. And we owe him probably in the $30,000 range. He's threatened to sue us. And I believe majority of the council, well, I'll speak for myself. I know that we're trying to get litigation put behind us. So if we could settle this case for 16,000, I believe, a little around 16,000, approximately $16,000, and put it behind us, because litigation is significantly more money than the settlement, and to wave goodbye to Mayor Kranjak's buddy, Mr. Bernstein, and prevent litigation from continuing. So that's why we're looking to move forward to try to prevent additional litigation on the borough.
Okay, you had your piece. Let me say my piece and do not interrupt me. If you,
hand up.
let me finish. If you really believe he was my flunky, then why are you moving to pay him? I would actually vote no. So there's got to be more to it, Mr. Luciano, that you're saying on the one hand, he's my flunky, but the other hand, you want to pay him. I would vote no. So there you go.
But then again,
Mr.
Mr. Mayor,
DiGregorio
you
has his
don't
hand up.
vote,
Mr. Luciano,
and
you're
you
not
have a
recognized.
history,
Mr.
you have
DiGregorio
a
has
history
his
of
hand
not
up.
caring about the
Mr.
taxpayers'
DiGregorio
money,
has his hand up. You do not
going
have the
and just
floor.
spending the money
You
of the
do not have the
taxpayer
floor, Mr.
on
Luciano.
revenge
Follow the rules.
litigation.
You
So
don't have to
that's
jump
why.
in. You have to be recognized
That's
by the
why we're
mayor.
voting for it.
Mr. Luciano, you've
may I
said
be
enough. Mr.
recognized?
DiGregorio, go ahead.
Yes, so it pains me that we have to pay $16,000.
Then don't pay it.
$16,000 can buy a lot of things for the borough. So although it pains me, it is a good thing to have this lawyer, this attorney, in the rear view mirror. He stood by. We were not able to represent the public properly because Mayor Kranjak would mute us or throw us out of meetings, and he stood by and did nothing. Our civil rights were violated by this mayor, and he stood by. It pains me. I'd much rather spend this on adult programs, senior programs, transportation, new playground equipment, all of that. But this is a necessary evil, and I hope that the public will put their trust in the judgment of Mr. Luciano and myself regarding this payment.
Laura, can you please check the waiting room? I'm
Mr. Luciano, you
getting
don't have the
calls
floor.
saying that
Mr.
people are in the
Luciano, I
waiting
have
room
the
trying to
floor.
get in.
Mr. Luciano, I don't have the floor. Mr. Di Gregorio, let me have.
Well,
my
I'm
piece
I'm
here.
worried about the
Let me
public,
say
not the
this.
floor.
That's Miss Borcher's job is to follow that,
Thank you.
not yours. So
Let's-
look,
Let's move on.
the issue here is you mischaracterize a lot of things, Mr. Di Gregorio, and I know though it's political theater with everybody. Listen, Bernstein quit and he didn't explain why
I
he
make a
quit. And
motion to call the
let me
question.
finish. Let me finish.
Second,
In my book, if you quit,
Mr.
you don't
Mensch,
get
there's a
paid.
motion to
okay?
call the question, the first and the second.
You don't have the
Can we
floor,
please call
Mr.
the question?
Luciano. Mr. Luciano,
Can we
Ms.
please call
Borcher,
the question?
Mr. Luciano, you do not have the
Mr. Mensch,
floor.
Robert's
And the
rules of
reason
order.
why, the reason why, and this is what I
Robert's
want to
rules
also
of
add.
order.
Let me finish. Let me
Robert's
finish.
rules of
Let
order.
me
There's
finish.
been a,
No,
call the
I
question.
have the floor. I'm the chair.
No, you
You
don't
have to stop being so
anymore.
rude. You have to stop being so rude. I listened to you. I listened to Mr. Di Gregorio. And
We
your
call-
civil rights were not violated because you were
We called
doing
the question.
then exactly what you're doing now. You
called the
interrupted
question.
everyone. And it was impossible to have Zoom meetings without interruption and chaos. And under New Jersey law, I have the right to do what I did to stop you from interrupting everyone. So when you learned how to grow up and you learn how to behave, maybe we'll let you back at the adult table, okay? But sometimes you need to go to the children's table, sir. Ms. Borchers, please have a roll call.
My page. Councilmember Di Gregorio,
yes.
Councilmember Luciano,
Aye.
Councilmember Park,
Yes,
Councilmember Begats,
Yes,
Council President Katurbis.
I vote no.
Good job.
Okay,
Passes me.
Somebody had to speak for one of us, Glenn.
Mr. Mensch, Mr. Mensch, was there
I
anything
thought
else
the mayor was
regarding
doing
the?
that, but you just did his vote
Excuse
for him.
me.
That wasn't his
Excuse
vote.
me, Excuse
He
me,
knows
guys.
what he did.
Guys.
Somebody,
guys,
he couldn't get a
Trying to run a
unanimous.
meeting here. You want to have your little talk, go offline, talk to each other all you want. Mr. Mensch, was there anything else regarding closed session resolutions that we need to add?
No, Mayor.
Okay, the council received police department report and a building department report. And it is now time to open to the public. The motion to open to the public, please.
Can we please have those reports added to the minutes as well, please? Because we always say that they've been,
Excuse me, sir.
that we've received them, but the public
Excuse me,
never
sir.
sees
This
them.
is not a free-for-all.
Mr. Mensch, can we please?
Mr. Luciano,
that those get
Mr.
added to
Luciano,
the minutes?
we are opening to the public. I have a motion.
I understand
I
that,
make
but
the
I have a
motion.
point of
Is there
order.
a second?
I have a point of
All
order.
in favor?
I have a point of
Okay,
order.
we're open to the public. There's no point in
Mr. Mensch,
order. You're
point of
not
order.
recognized, sir.
Point of order.
Mr.
Glenn, you could add them to the minutes, Glenn.
You're
I
not
don't think
recognized. Mr. Mensch, neither are you. Please give me some order, please. All right, we're open to the public. If there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, please raise your hand. State your name and address and make your comment.
Seeing no one, I make a motion to close the meeting to the public.
There's a hand up. There's no vote, so there's a hand up. Mrs. O'Shea, go ahead.
There's a motion in a second.
No, there's no vote. There's a member of the public who wishes to be heard. If
Okay,
you're too
Mr.
busy,
Bernstein,
then you
thank
can
you.
leave. Mrs. O'Shea, go ahead. You're muted, ma'am. We can't hear you, ma'am. You're muted. Laura, unmute her.
Mary O'Shea, 12 Irving Avenue. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for reading the email that I sent to you and all the council members last night. 25 hours ago, I sent it just after 8 o'clock. And I have a couple of things I'd like to say. I would like to ask Laura Borges, did she notify anybody that Tamara Nahar was not a registered Republican when her name was submitted for consideration?
I was not notified.
Ms. O'Shea, that this is not an opportunity to ask employees of the borough questions. This is public comment. You
Mensch,
can make your
Mr.
comments.
Mensch.
Well, that's my,
Matt, you're
that's
not
part of my
recognized.
comment.
Mr. Mensch, you
Okay.
are not
Hey,
recognized.
thank
sir.
you, Ms.
All right,
O'Shea.
I would like to also ask Ms. Borges, did you transport the request for the party affiliation change form for Tamana Nahar out to the county during your workday? And I'd also like to know who directed you to do this. And there are many email communications on this subject that you only copied Councilman Tim Katrubis on. Was there a reason that he was the only one that you copied?
I'd
on
like
this
to know how
subject?
Ms. O'Shea knows that, since I wasn't copied on it and I don't know that.
I,
Do you have access, do you have access to our email system?
no, I
Councilman
I got a log, Glenn.
Councilman
I got a
Luciano,
log.
just like,
Mr. Mensch, hold on a second. You're
Now,
interrupting the resident, Mr. Mensch. Mr.
I would
Mensch,
also
you're
like
interrupting.
to ask, I would, excuse me, I would also like to ask Mr. Katrubis if he directed the deputy clerk to take this change of party affiliation out to Hackensack during her workday. No answer, okay. If you think that the information that I brought to you was incorrect, I can show you the, I'm trying to do it, I don't know, it's not coming up. The form that was taken out to the county, all right, and validated at 2/17. And I also have the log, which Ms. Borges signed in at the county at 2/13. So everything that I put in my email was accurate, and I have no problem with the residents seeing that. And I also am concerned because Ms. Borges is the election official in this town. And despite what Mr. Mensch said, that's not her job to take documents to Hackensack for for a party, a political party, all right? And Ms. Rizzulli knew, or somebody knew, that Ms. Nahar was not a Republican, and they tried to cure it with these actions. And I really am asking for an investigation to be done on this, because I am running for election in this coming primary, and I want to make sure that I am treated fairly, and I do not want anybody tampering with documents to make it fit into the right slot. Okay, and I think that Glenn and David would also want a fair election, because they have candidates in this coming election, and they wouldn't want it to be tampered with. All right, and any of the emails that I sent to all the mayor and council, Republican and Democrat, and I gave you ample notice to try to get the answers to these questions before tonight's meeting. All right, I gave you more than 24 hours notice, and Ms. Borges was acting incorrectly, in my opinion. So I really think that an investigation needs to be done on this, because she is supposed to remain neutral, and she's supposed to safeguard the election process, not do what she did. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone who wasn't implicated in this scenario wishing to have an investigation? Okay, is there anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard? You have a motion to close the public portion. Oh, I'm sorry, I see Mr. Hassan Abadi. Mr. Abadi, I see your hand is raised. If you wish to speak, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Hassan Abadi. I actually do not live in town. I'm in the process of purchasing a property on 5th Street. The address is 0 5th Street.
What's your present address?
Excuse me?
You need to state your present address, please.
1020 Colonial Road in Franklin Lakes, 07417, New Jersey.
Okay, thank you. And you're talking about this street? Okay.
Yeah, so the property that I'm in the process of purchasing does not have a paved road leading to the lot nor to the lots after that property. There's approximately 5 properties that are constructed, people live in there, and there is no paved road. The
Okay.
question is, if I continue purchasing this property, am I allowed to pave the road out of pocket without there being a sewer system or drain system in place?
So first of all, I want to welcome you to town. I hope you do end up joining us as our neighbor.
Thank you.
So welcome in advance. Mr. Mensch, this has been coming up periodically. I know the engineers were working on a solution there. And there also been some monies, I think escrowed from the developer who failed to actually complete that road. Do you know what the status is, Mr. Mensch? And if not, then I'm going to ask that Mr. Abadi's attorney and you speak and get some.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I don't know about that road specifically, but typically if some private entity is going to pave the road as a starting point, it has to make sure it's up to municipal standards. There are certain, standards that go in place there that may be different than a private road. The borough also has to be willing to accept those improvements. So there may be a way of doing it, Mr. Body, but if you have your attorney contact me, or if you don't have an attorney, if you contact me, I can help work with you in the engineering department and see what the possible solutions might be there.
Yeah.
So we reached out to 2 of the neighbors that are currently living on the same block, and they're also facing the same problem that we're facing. They said that this has come up many of times, and they were told that the town does not have the proper financing for this project. What they ended up doing is, to make matters a little shorter, they connected to the block adjacent to 5th Street, which is 6th Street. And they were not able to connect to any other block because it's far. My question to you is, if we were willing to foot the bill to pave the road before there's any foundation in place, is that possible or is that allowed?
Yeah, sir, I don't know off the top of my head. We'd have to talk. I'd have to go over what the engineers say and any applicable laws. So I'm happy to work through that with you, but I don't know the answer.
Mr. Abadi, I appreciate you willing to do that. And if possible, we'll certainly take you up on your offer. This, just so you know, was one of the issues I inherited when I became mayor in 2016. Apparently the former mayor and his planning board decided that their friend could do whatever they wanted with an unpaved street, build houses, make a lot of money, and not pave it, right? So, and then it became an issue of, well, how's it fair to the rest of the residents if the rest of the residents in this town have to clean up the mess from the prior mayor and his planning board? So you're kind of music to my ears tonight, willing to do that. Well, let's figure out what we can do. Mr. Mensch, make this a priority, please, because I know Mr. Abadi's probably got a contract with a fuse on it in terms of getting things done.
Mr. Mayor, just one last question, if you allow me. If the road is not paved, does it get plowed in the snow season? So if an emergency crew needs to, for example, reach somebody or one of these neighbors and the road is covered with snow, how does that happen? Does it get plowed by the town?
I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it does, because otherwise that would have been another complaint I would have received, and I haven't received that one yet.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for attending tonight and for waiting. You could have also felt free to just reach out to me and call me, or so we'll figure this out for you. And
Has this come up before?
Mr. Munch, please make this a priority.
Will do.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Have a good
Thank
evening,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Council. You too. Thank you.
Can I have a motion to close the public portion, please?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I only heard one aye, so is there anyone opposed? Okay, all right, so
Being recognized just for a second.
yes, Mr. Di Gregorio.
So very quickly, you called out the last planning board, and I It's never really good to criticize the previous administration. It's always good to stand on your own. And your planning board actually didn't do the town well, probably massively because of the 800 Sylvan corporate denial. So I couldn't let that pass. Thank you.
So look, I think we're talking about apples and oranges, right? The state of New Jersey has damaged, hurt, and destroyed every town in this state except ours so far with affordable housing, and that's what our planning board was trying to avert. Okay, so Mr. Mr. Di Gregorio, your point is understood, but it's also political theater. Next on our agenda, there's items of discussion and council review. There may or may not.
Are we
be
supposed to be doing a department report?
I had mentioned that earlier, Mr. Katrubis. I said that everyone should have received them. If there's any comments, I had asked for comment.
My fault.
Mr. Luciano then asked that they be appended to the minutes of the meeting.
Oh, okay.
And
I'd like to make a motion if allowed, Mayor.
Can I just make one comment on that? To the extent that those reports get appended to the minutes, someone needs to make sure there's nothing confidential or privileged in those reports.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Mensch, Ms. Borchers,
Sure.
let's be careful. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Katrubis.
Okay, so I have a few motions I'd like to make. First motion is I'd like to make a motion to pass a temporary budget before we get caught up in any of the chaos tonight.
On the agenda, right?
You're expecting chaos? Oh, that's not good, but okay.
I'm not expecting chaos, but it seems to always happen.
It seems to follow us. Okay, well, I think we've had a good run of 15 minutes here. Let's continue it. But you're making a motion to adopt the temporary budget. Is there a
Yes,
second?
Where is that on the
That's
agenda?
not on the agenda. I thought that I thought we spoke to Chris earlier.
It is on the agenda. It's under your consent agenda.
Okay, so I'd like to make the motion to pass the
It's
temporary budget.
22-128.
All right, so we're going to pull that forward. And as you're doing that, can you also add that you're going to change the order of the agenda so we keep everyone happy in terms of moving that up?
Yeah, and change the order of the agenda.
Well,
please.
usually you would be the one to say we're not following the agenda.
Well, we just fixed the problem. Look at that, Mr. Luciano, and you couldn't just sit there and listen. Okay, so is there a second to changing the order of the agenda to move 128 up to this point in the meeting and also to approve the temporary budget?
A second.
Okay, is there a discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mensch, how many votes are required to approve the temporary budget?
3.
Thank you.
Okay, have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Di Gregorio? Councilmember Di Gregorio? Did you
Yes.
vote? Councilmember Luciano?
No,
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Begats?
Abstain. I didn't see it.
Council President Katrubis?
Yes.
3 votes, Mayor. Passes.
Okay.
Okay. I'd also like to make another motion, please, Mayor, if allowed.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, what else did you want to say?
Yeah, so I want to make a motion to reinstate the ad hoc committee from November 18th so we can get some residents' opinions about what's happening here in town. And I'd like to put on that ad hoc committee myself, Mr. Park, and Resident Heyman Meta.
So you want a 3-member committee, 2 councilmen who have sworn duties and have the cloak of attorney-client privilege.
Pass the
It's
temporary budget.
22-128.
All right, so we're going to pull that forward. And as you're doing that, can you also add that you're going to change the order of the agenda so we keep everyone happy in terms of moving that up?
Yeah, and change the order of the agenda.
well,
please.
usually you would be the one to say we're not following the agenda.
Well, we just fixed the problem. Look at that, Mr. Luciano, and you couldn't just sit there and listen. Okay, so is there a second to changing the order of the agenda to move 128 up to this point in the meeting and also to approve the temporary budget?
A second.
Okay, is there a discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mensch, how many votes are required to approve the temporary budget?
3.
Thank you.
Okay, have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Di Gregorio? Councilmember Di Gregorio? Did you
Yes.
vote? Councilmember Luciano,
No,
Councilmember Park,
Yes.
Councilmember Begats,
Abstain. I didn't see it.
Council President Katurbis.
Yes.
3 votes, Mayor, passes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'd also like to make another motion, please, Mayor, if allowed.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, what else did you want to say?
Yeah, so I want to make a motion to reinstate the ad hoc committee from November 18th so we can get some residents' opinions about what's happening here in town. And I'd like to put on that ad hoc committee myself, Mr. Park, and Resident Heyman Meta.
So you want a 3-member committee, 2 councilmen who have sworn duties and have the cloak of attorney-client privilege protecting them, and a resident who is not an elected official, and I don't know his status as a U.S. citizen, and who also, I understand, owns the property at the end of Johnson Ave, abutting 9W on the back end. And then how would this committee function, Mr. Katrubis?
No different than the last one that you had instructed Mr. Farrow to take down.
Well, the last one was looking to rent office space in New York. So is that part of this?
Is that on record somewhere, Mr. Because last I checked, he doesn't have any voting rights. He doesn't have any, he's just here on a consultation basis. And look, and if you want to make an issue.
No, I'm just
getting-
asking. So
I
we're
just want
clear.
to, I just want to make it clear. If you want to make an issue of getting residents involved with what's
Residents
going
are
on,
always
because
involved.
they talk to other residents, that's fine.
Residents
I've
are
told you
always
this
involved.
before, I have zero faith in
I,
what's going on. So I would like to be able to consult some of the brilliant residents that we have in town.
that's fine. We have a lot of brilliant residents, and we're blessed to have them, and we're fortunate to have them. And you're free to talk to them whenever you want. You've been on this council since January 1st, 2021. You're free to talk to
Can
everyone.
we take, can I, is there a second, please?
This is a discussion. There's a second. I just want to understand how the committee will function.
The same way that it functioned before,
It was-
Mario.
well,
The resolution is quite clear. I don't think that it had any issues last time. It was passed by Mr. Di Gregorio. It was passed by Mr. Luciano. It was
Right.
passed.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? The committee was standing for 3 months, and there were not regular reports to the governing body.
That's not true. The
Well,
committee was standing for
all right.
6 weeks during Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, and New Year's.
Okay, so
And any other holiday I may have missed.
will the committee undertake to report regularly, at least monthly, to the council, to the governing body?
The governing body is free to speak to any attorney or any person as they wish. I don't think any person was sidestepped in this process.
Okay.
You were fully informed of what was happening last time.
Not true, not true.
That is
That's why it
absolutely
was
true.
taken down.
Cat
No.
Walder and the other attorneys and Stone and Maganini were your relationships. So
Right.
don't say
Never
that
informed
you
I
had
didn't
no
speak
idea
to
what
them
was happening.
regularly.
That's not true.
You and Mr. Mata spoke to them regularly. I'm just asking that.
Look at the bills. Look
if
at the
we-
bills.
Relax.
Let's
If-
look
I
at,
was
yeah,
just saying,
look at the bills. We should look at the bills.
If we can, and if you get this committee, I just want it to be part of the governing body and not the Tim and Haymont, side.
Look, Mr. Mario, I can't, like you said, right? I can't make you read. I can't make you work. I can't make you spend extra time. I can't make anybody do anything. All I'm saying is that we have people that are willing to do the work and help. You don't want
Right.
to take the help, it's fine. I'm okay with that too.
And
It doesn't
just
really
as-
matter to me if we throw in the towel. It's okay. But I'm
Listen,
not fighting. I'm not fighting with anybody.
You're fighting with yourself right now. I'm not saying no.
I
I'm
just want to make it
asking you
clear
how
that I just prefer to have people that I can consult who I'm confident with. I have confidence that they have the expertise that's necessary to give me to answer the questions that I need answered.
I'm
That's it.
I'm just asking how will it function? Like how, like
No different. No different than it. Look, just like this council functions, right? There's a certain amount of people on this council, and only a certain percentage do the bulk of the work. So you're free to be involved as much as you'd like to be involved. I can't.
Well,
force you to do
as
that.
mayor, I'm ex parte member of every committee. Okay?
Absolutely, Mario. Mario, look, let's
here's the
be
thing.
realistic.
I want
You're-
you in
you
front
are
of the-
intricately involved in every
give us
decision.
any
that-
information
If
either,
you get
Mayor.
this committee, I just want you to acknowledge that you will give me notice of all your meetings on this committee, because you weren't doing that before. And you know,
There
that.
was no
Make a
meetings,
comment, please.
Mario. If people
Comment.
talk, pick up the phone and call in an attorney, and if people pick up a phone and call somebody and bounce ideas off of each other, that's fine. But there was never once. I can't call you every single time. First of all, you're never available, right? You're
always
rarely
available.
available.
I
And when
am
I do call
always
you,
available.
you were no.
I am always available, please.
Look,
I am
Mario,
the most
the
available
truth is,
mayor in the state of New
No
Jersey.
decision was
You
made
can call
unless.
me any day, anytime, any
Yeah,
night, any place.
The problem
I
we
will
have.
always answer my phone, and I always do. Okay.
Okay, well,
So,
look, Mario.
I think
no
maybe we're
decision
turning a
was
leaf
taken.
here. Maybe we'll turn over a new leaf here, right?
Maybe we will, but you know very well that no decision was made without your or Ramon's knowledge.
Well, you guys ran up the bill. Look, I don't want to see Cadwalader.
We didn't
change
run up the
Mr.
bill. We brought the
Mehta.
bill down.
Mr. Mehta
Let's be
was-
realistic. We brought
Cadwalader
we
was
were
training
surprised.
Mehta-
I
Hold
don't
on
know
a
why I'm
second.
even arguing.
Mehta
Can we
was
take a
being
vote,
trained.
please?
Mehta was being trained by Cadwalader, which is just, we're not paying for that.
Meta brought the bills down to, you know where he brought the
Alright,
bills
so-
down.
So is there anyone
You know
else
where
on
he brought the
council-
bills
Where
down.
did he bring them
Far
down
lower
to?
than you did.
Because sitting on the
I
council,
had
I
it-
have no
I
idea.
brought it down even more. Is there anyone else? on
200
council who wants to talk
emails
about
that we
that?
never even contacted or
Is
included
there
in.
anyone else? who
Yes,
wants
I'd like to
mention-
say something,
Okay,
please.
Mr. Di Gregorio has the floor. Everyone else, please let him speak.
We are, if the council votes for this, we are actually passing to a private citizen. And there's nothing that can that prevents anyone in town from bringing their expertise to the council. What I object to is on the Cadwalader bills, they were training at our dime, a resident on how to use software. First of all,
Mr.
Luciano,
Di Gregorio?
Councilman, I'm not
No,
done.
you're you're
Councilman-
politicizing this, sir. And I need
Councilman
to step in
Luciano
front of
and
this.
I
This gentleman.
only
no, sir,
found out
you're
about
wrong.
that
This
after we
gentleman
examined the
renegotiated-
bills. Tim,
this
I need to
gentleman
talk.
Wait,
I
let
need
Mr.
to
Di-
talk.
let Mr. Di
Far
Gregorio,
lower than you can
Mr.
ever
Di-
imagine.
please.
I
Stop
need
it.
to
No
talk.
Cran Jack,
Guys.
let us speak.
Guys, please
Stop
let
it.
Mr. Di
You
May I-
gotta
Gregorio.
be honest with the
finish?
public. You better be
You can
honest.
start. You
Okay?
can finish. You can add, listen, we're debating.
It's not a debate.
All I
The
would
point
like to
is-
do is
The
make
point
it
is,
clear.
you're
Hold on a
comparing-
second. Mr. Di Gregorio has the floor. He's raising some very good points, which I won't normally acknowledge about Mr. Di Gregorio, but I am right now. You're raising some good points. And I think privilege is also a point that needs to be raised. Will the attorney-client privilege extend to a non-elected official resident? And that's something that Mensch could answer after, but go ahead, Mr. Di Gregorio.
We are now being sued by Fair Share. This is an extremely sensitive topic. We have to be very careful. If any resident can help us, call any one of us and let's share it with the whole council. Mr. Luciano and me, we're not given any information about
That's not
that
true, Mr.
folly.
Di Gregorio. I have
Excuse
reason
me.
to believe that you leak
Excuse me,
information
I'm not finished yet.
on a
Please let me
consistent
finish and then you can go.
Well, like I
The
said, I have reason to believe that you
the
leak
Cadwalader
information.
bills were riddled with all kinds of training and this and that and strategies and,
Riddled?
I mean, it
Define
was
riddled, please.
pile
Define.
of
Just throw big
garbage.
words out there.
that
Please,
almost cost our town nearly $1 million. And we
$1 million
have,
in training? Is that what
and
happened?
we have 10 residents in town, to include Mr. Councilman Luciano and myself,
Motion
represented
to
by
call to question,
Albert
please.
Punch. And we won that
Make a
lawsuit.
motion to call to question, please.
We won the lawsuit and we
May I have a
saved
second?
town nearly $1 million that would have been flushed down the toilet, that would have gone to, I hate to say it, Mario Kranjak's 31-year friend that worked for Cadwalader. Now let's face reality. Nobody really loves this, but they're going to build. They're going to build.
What does this have
And
to do?
we have to make the best of it.
Motion to
And
call
we
to
need
question,
to
please.
make the best
Within
of
the
it.
discussion.
If we don't, we are risking a Fort Lee North, what nobody wants. We're risking losing immunity. You're risking personal civil rights lawsuits. There's so much at stake here.
I'm risking?
No, I'm saying it's people on the council, you heard that, are risking to be
So,
sued
look, let's stay to the
individually.
issue. Let's stay to the
So
issue.
there's a lot on the table here to start yet a committee again. They are more than welcome to give all of their information to the council. God, if they can help, that's great. But there's no reason why it has to be a committee of unelected people sanctioned by this council, handing our elected responsibilities to somebody else.
Mr. Katrubis,
If
do you want to rebut?
if any of the people out there in the town have information or suggestions, I suggest we convene a special meeting, have an open house, and let them make suggestions. But it's a very complex issue. And
We're gonna solve it in a special meeting in
Mr.
15
Katrubis,
minutes.
do you want to rebut? Go ahead.
I mean, everything that he says doesn't make any sense. Okay, first of all, he spends very little time doing anything, much of anything, to be real.
Okay, but be
realistic with
specific on this issue. I know he doesn't do anything. but
Well,
go
I
ahead.
mean, and then he says to hold special meetings and bring the information to who? To you, David? Like you understand what's happening anyway? It does, and to go to your argument about, and you know that what I'm saying is accurate, and then to go to your argument that this person is. What about every other professional that we have that speaks to the council, like our engineers or our consultants or whoever? Why is that any different?
Well,
None
that's-
of what you're saying makes any sense.
Okay, well, I think there's a distinction, right? Because our
And,
professionals.
Well, frame it for me because I don't
Hold on,
understand.
let me finish, guys.
Yeah.
Mr. Mensch, my biggest concern here is that there's a non-elected official going to be handling attorney-client privilege, confidential information. Will the privilege extend to that individual?
Mayor, we've discussed this before in closed session. I've
Yes
given
or
my
no?
opinion.
I need a yes or no.
There is not a yes or no answer to that question, Mayor.
Okay. So
Can
that's
I be recognized, please?
my biggest concern. Mr. Luciano has the floor. Please, everybody, let him speak.
Mr. Katrubis, I find it disturbing to me because you keep going back to, and it's really kind of a personal attack on, someone that doesn't support your position because, it's really kind of disrespectful to say to David that bring it to someone like you? I mean,
look,
let's
how
be
much
honest.
time does
We're
he
not
spend with it
engineers.
though?
One at a
Let's
time.
be realistic.
We're not
One at a time.
professionals in police work. We're not professionals in a lot of things.
And that's
But
the
you know
point,
what?
David.
We're elected
Glenn,
officials.
that's the point.
And we rely on Mr. Mensch. We rely on our professionals to come back. We rely on our new borough administrator. We rely on our borough clerk that have expertise in their field to
Right.
come back and advise us. So to
Right.
try to say that, what are they supposed to come back to you? Yes, they are supposed to come back to us.
No,
We're
that's not
elected.
what I'm saying here, David.
And you
Glenn,
know
that's
what?
not what I said.
They have an
mi-
obligation to advise
No,
us.
sir,
of
you're
what's
framing this
taking place.
incorrectly.
And with
What I'm
you
saying
and with
is,
Cadwalader, and with all respect to all of you, including the mayor, there was hundreds of emails between Cadwalader, the mayor, yourself. that
hundreds
were
of emails with me? Because that's
Councilman
inaccurate. But
Gregorio
go ahead.
or myself were never even on the email
Well, don't say
string.
things that are not
And
accurate,
for
Glenn. There was not
years,
hundreds of emails
How
with me
long
and
did we
Cadwalader.
hear about the mayor saying, we were never advised? We're going to sue these attorneys because you know what? They didn't keep us abreast of what was going on. And you did the same exact thing.
I didn't
So
do
to
anything,
sit there
sir.
and be disrespectful about what are they supposed to bring it back to you? You know what? Heck, yes. We're
Okay, well,
elected
look,
officials. They're
Glenn,
supposed to bring
here's
it
the
back to
problem.
us
Here's the
because
problem.
we make the
Because
decision.
again, all right, let me know when you're done, Glenn.
Not the
Let me know when you're
committee,
done.
and even the committee doesn't make the decision,
Nobody
which
said
you
the-
guys were doing in the committee, directing how the legal thing should go,
Mhm.
directing how Mr. Meta was going to be trained in their system, and not even having the decency to come back to the council and saying what the strategy was, where it was going. As a matter of fact, you guys keep talking about how you brought down the bill. You know what? The last bill that we have from Cadwalader doesn't indicate anything was reduced. As a matter of fact, the bill and the emails that have come out indicate that, you know what? Cadwalader threatened to quit just before you paid him the $100,000. And you guys were concerned about Cadwalader quitting, so that's when you rushed through the $100,000. That wasn't included. David and I weren't included on those
That's
emails.
fine. Let me know
So
when you're
let's
done
be
because
honest with
I can't keep up with all
everybody,
these false
okay?
starts.
Because you
So-
talk about how they should bring it back to us. Heck, yes. They're
All
supposed
right.
to, we're the elected
So-
officials.
So guys,
Even
the
if we're not
issue
professionals,
here,
and even if the mayor wants to call me a bus driver, you know what? This bus driver should be advised as to what's going on and not
Okay.
just take
so
the word of a.
you were always
Thank you,
advised.
Mayor, for
Okay.
recognizing.
Well said,
So you
Mr.
were
Luciano.
always
So is it my turn to
you were always
rebuttal all of
informed
these
as
things?
much as I was. The issue though, Tim, is that Mr. Mensch is waffling, right? I asked him a specific question. Will the attorney-client privilege, which is really super important here, extend to a non-elected official? And he said, it's yes or no. You didn't answer, right? You said it might be, it might not be, right? Mr. Mensch, how do you advise on that? This is what we pay you for. Does the privilege extend to that individual?
Mayor, I think you summed it up well, as it depends. And I'm happy to talk about it in closed session, but I'm not going to give a legal opinion in a public setting about the strengths and weaknesses or the arguments for or against something that would otherwise potentially be used against the borough.
Okay, so there's a vote about to happen. So does the council wish to go into closed session to get clarity on that issue? I would recommend you do, because here's what's going to happen. If for some reason the privilege does not extend, which you know 800 Sylvan and Fair Share Housing folks, that's the first thing they're going to say. And that's the first thing they're going to do in their lawsuit is say, you waived your privilege because you had this individual exposed to attorney-client privilege information. Does this council wish to take that risk? That's what it comes down to. And if you wish to have more discussion, go into closed session. Mr. Mensch could go through it with you.
Mr. Mayor, I think that's even one of your emails that from Cadwalader expressed that they were concerned about waiving. So I think even your own attorneys that you hired were
Well,
concerned
because-
about waiving the attorney-client privilege.
So look, we're here, we're governing a body, we're mature, we're adults. We're not supposed to be sharing our legal opinions with the public. Can you understand that simple concept, Mr. Luciano? I'm not going to confirm or deny that they said
Well, I
that.
thought that's what you were just asking.
I'm asking, but I'm not stating
Just
that
wanted
somebody
Mr. Mensch
told
to
us one
answer
way or
in
the other.
public.
You, sir, your mouth moves a lot faster than your brain, okay? Because if you had half a brain, you wouldn't have said what you just said.
Well, maybe that's why that
So does
happened.
this council wish to go into closed session?
Yes.
Is there a motion? to go into
Is
closed
is Mr. Katrubis withdrawing his motion?
He's not withdrawing it.
So then we can't go into closed session. There's a motion and a second on the table.
We could basically recess, go into closed session with.
Not
this
in the middle of a
motion
vote.
pending. The motion could continue to be pending. We'll go and discuss it in
Not in the
private.
middle of a vote.
It's-
Robert
it-
rules
it's-
of
We're
order.
not
Mr.
voting
Mayor.
yet. We're in discussion right now. We're in discussion. And because of the nature of the discussion, we need to go into closed session to talk to the borough attorney.
Is that your legal opinion?
That's my mayor's opinion, because I want to do this.
Well, let's get our legal opinion from Mr. Mensch, because I believe that there's a motion and a second on the table.
As there's discussion.
I
The
think that
discussion needs to continue in closed session.
I think there needs to be a vote to go into closed session. Glenn, I think that Councilman Ciano, I think that because this is to discuss this topic, I don't know that we need an official motion to table. There does need to be a motion to go into closed session to discuss this item.
Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
Thank you, sir.
And to continue discussing just this.
Okay, I make the motion to go into closed session.
Thank
Yes.
you. And there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so to the public, this is a discrete issue that we need to go discuss in closed session.
Roll call, please.
We're going to go, we just had a vote, Mr. DeGregorio, wake up. We're going
We're
into.
asking
closed
for a
session.
roll call.
Roll call, please.
Wake up, Mayor. It's
We just
roll
had a
call.
vote to go into closed session.
No,
Roll
we-
call.
I'd like to.
No.
Yes, yes, yes. Robert's
No.
Rules of Order. When
No,
you're-
the
it's a roll
rule
call, you have to
was-
do a roll
Mensch,
call.
Could we have a roll?
No, we're-
Yeah,
Laura,
if
please
a
put
member
everyone
asks
into-
for, if a member asks for a roll call vote, then they're entitled to.
But there's something that intervened. We're still in discussion. Okay? We're
Right,
still
we're asking to go to
discussing.
closed
No,
session.
the discussion is not
There's a
over yet.
vote. We're
Laura,
asking
please,
for a roll
please put us
call.
into closed session.
We're asking for a roll
Laura,
call.
please put us into closed session. Thank you.
No, we need a
Laura, I
roll
would
call.
listen to
We need a
Mr.
roll call
Mitchell,
vote,
Mr.
Laura.
Laura,
Frangio.
I am directing you to
Need
put
a
us
roll
into
call?
closed session.
Okay.
Need a roll call vote,
Excuse me.
Laura.
All right, give me a moment.
Are
What
we
are you-
going into
Member
closed
Begay?
session?
Guys, Mr. Mensch, you're
He's asking
confusing
for a roll.
everything. You're confusing everything. We are still in discussion. There's no roll call.
But there's a roll call vote, Mayor, on going into closed session because a council member asked for it. So under Robert's rules, if there's a voice
We just
vote.
had a vote. We just
Yes, but
had
it
a
was-
vote. It
yes,
was
but Mayor,
aye
it's a-
and nobody opposed it.
Yes,
Mr.
but it was a
Mensch.
voice vote, and under Robert's rules, if somebody has a voice vote and wants a regular vote, a roll call vote, they can ask for
To
it.
go into closed session. We just
Yeah,
voted.
if they want to.
By the way, had our clerk actually done what she should have done, which is we had the votes, we should have been in closed session by now, but we're not. So now we're gonna waste more time, Ms.
We're
Borchers.
following the rules of law, Mayor.
Councilmember Begats,
Yes.
Councilmember Park. I'm sorry,
I'll
Councilmember Di
come.
Gregorio, sorry about that. Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No, I don't want to go into closed session.
Councilmember Luciano,
No.
Councilmember Park,
No,
Councilmember Begats,
Yes.
Council President Luciano, Katurbis.
Yeah, go into closed session.
Okay, so
Thank you
Yes.
for the motion.
it fails. Okay, so this council is going to vote on something without knowing the legal ramification of privileged communications, okay?
We already know the legal ramifications.
You don't know very much right now, okay? Because Mr. Mensch didn't answer the question. So is there any other
No, we had a
discussion
problem
before we
with
have a
the
vote on this committee?
I'd like you to read what is going to be voted on once again for the public. Somebody.
Borchers, please read it.
What am I reading here? You all
The motion that Mr. Katrubis
The
made.
motion is to reinstate.
Reinstate, the ad hoc
from
committee.
November 18th. With the exception that this time the members are myself, Mr. Park, and the residents, Mr. Heyman Meta.
Okay, what's going on?
in a
Calling?
moment. Second,
I'm waiting for a vote. There was a second. That's why we were discussing this, Ms. Borchers.
okay.
Mr. Park had
Because I
seconded.
didn't hear him. Thank you.
No, but like 10 minutes ago.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
As I said before, and I'll say the resident because Mr. Katrubis said the resident, if Mr. Meta has anything to contribute, he is more than welcome to contribute. No need for a committee. I do not want a committee because I do not want unelected officials making policy or dealing with this issue. Again, advice is always welcome, and I don't see why that won't work here.
Are you okay also with him owning a piece of property in the zone that's under consideration?
That's not true, Mr. Mayor. And I think you should change your stance on that because if you're going to say something, it should be true.
Well, look,
He's
I
not
know he
owning
owns a property.
That zone is a commercial zone. His property is in a residential
But
zone.
the backside of that property is the only residential property in the
It doesn't
north.
matter. It's not.
Let
in
me
the
finish.
zone.
Let
So
me
say
finish.
what's
Let me-
accurate.
Let me finish.
Okay.
That is the only residential property in the North Cliffs whose backyard backs into 9W.
Okay, well, again,
Think
his
about all the
property is still
mayhem.
not in the zone, so.
Think about all the
Yeah.
mayhem you could get out of that property, all right?
Say again?
Think about all the mayhem and chaos that you could get out of that property,
hmm
okay?
Again, his property is not in the zone.
His property backside goes on to 9W directly. It's the only property that's of a residential nature that does that in Englewood Cliffs, in the North Cliffs.
Look, I tell you what, if you think that this person has gone through all this trouble for some small little residential property, fine by me.
I just
don't
want to be
I just
transparent with
don't
the
believe
public.
it. But go ahead, do whatever you need to do.
I'm just, all the facts that I know.
I
want to
understand,
share.
Mario. I think I understand. First of all, this man, and what Mr. Di Gregorio said before was inaccurate. This man has no voting rights. He's not shaping policy.
He's not doing any of that. He's consulting, just like Mr. Di Gregorio just said. He welcomes consultation. That's all this individual is doing. I have no idea why this needs to be politicized.
I think you will lose the attorney-client privilege, just as God made little green apples, and I know it's going to be a problem. There's no reason why you can't consult with people right now without putting them on an official committee. The people from 800 Sylvan are watching this meeting. They know they're just basically licking their chops. They know what's going to happen.
You consult with Mazer, you consult with Bob Powell, you consult with all these people.
They
Yeah,
come in they come under privilege, Mr.
Why?
They are professionals. They're hired by the borough.
What's the difference? What's
I
the difference between a
can't walk you through
volunteer?
like basic 101 stuff here. Okay,
I don't
look,
think it's basic 101.
It's
If basic
101.
Why aren't you getting it?
because
I make
Nichols.
a motion to call the question.
Second,
Council, I think there was already a vote on this.
Yeah,
This
you're
should
already
be,
voting.
this should be continued to
Mr.
roll
Di
call.
Gregorio sidetracked the vote because he had to have his soliloquy, and so he voted, and now who votes after him goes
How did
next.
you vote? How did you vote, Mr. De Gregorio? How did you vote? I can hear you. You're muted.
Unmute.
We can't hear you.
I voted no to the committee. I stated my reasons briefly. Thank you.
Councilmember Luciano? Councilmember Park?
yes,
Councilmember Begats?
Yes.
Councilman Katurbis?
Yes.
Okay, I would have voted no, just for the future when you guys all get sued.
Okay.
All right.
Where were you? And
Mr. Katurbis, anything else from your?
Yeah, I do have another. I have more. Thank you for reminding me. My head is spinning from all this.
I hope that this time, everything that is, since if there is going to be in fact the committee, everything, all emails need to be shared with the entire council, period.
It won't happen.
You said you hope. Is that going to be a resolution that you want passed?
Not necessary.
Yeah, no, make the resolution. I'll second it.
Make a motion, if that's what you want. That's what you guys are supposed to be doing.
what are we doing?
It's a
I'll second it.
that all emails include all mayor and council.
Okay.
from this-
I'll make a motion to table whatever that is. I really just want to move on.
So there's a
Of course
motion.
you do, because you don't want to share the emails with us.
You mean like the same way you guys share all your emails?
Well,
We're not playing. This is
Yeah,
a level.
well, when I
playing
have an email with regard to transportation, I'll gladly share it with you there, Tim.
All right, I know. Like you share the rest.
Okay.
All right, so there's a motion and then there's a motion to table.
When they tell me about the light bulb being out on the street, I'll send you that email,
All right,
Tim.
Mr. Luciano, please. There's a motion to table that you made. Is there anyone seconding that motion to table?
I'll second.
Okay, so there's a motion to table and a second. Can I have a roll call?
We'll have a discussion.
Discussion.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's no discussion on tabling. I apologize.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's tabling. What do you want to talk about? Have a roll call.
Councilmember Di Gregorio?
No.
Councilmember Luciano?
No, and the question was going to be if the new councilwoman understands that now she's not going to get any emails from that committee, and she just voted
Nobody
for that.
said
so-
any of that. I don't understand. But anyway,
Whatever crystal ball you're looking at, Mr. Luciano, is irrelevant.
Councilmember Park?
okay, I want to make it clear about is sharing email or the, communication.
This
What
is a
is
motion
it?
for tabling, Mark.
Table.
This is a
We're not
motion to-
discussing it.
This is a motion to table that was
Oh,
made by
okay.
Mr.
We'll
Katrubis.
bring it back.
No,
Okay.
Councilmember Begats?
Yes.
Councilmember Katurbis?
motion to table, yes.
Forget about transparency.
Okay, so,
Mr. Mayor, can I make a
I'm sorry, hold on, I
motion?
was in the middle of a sentence. We go back now to the original motion, and we have a roll call there.
What's the original motion? I don't understand.
The committee.
Oh,
The-
yes.
the original
The committee
motion
already
was a
passed.
motion-
Voted on the
Yes.
committee.
Sorry,
I
no,
wanted to make another
no,
motion.
no, guys, the motion was to make sure that the committee shares all communications with all members of the governing body. all
And they just said to table it.
We just said to table it, Mario.
What did Mr. Park?
No,
If
Mr.
you're not
Park
following
voted,
it, that's the way it just went.
I believe Mr. Park voted no on the motion to table.
Right,
So there was 3 votes against tabling.
right,
So the motion to table failed.
right, okay.
Okay,
So,
now everybody
yeah.
happy.
So like I said, now we go back to the original motion that Mr. Di Gregorio made, which is to share all communications of this ad hoc committee with all members of the governing body. And
I
that was
apologize,
motion
Mr. Mayor.
made. No, it's okay, I understand. And seconded, and now we, did you want discussion or did you want to vote?
A hearing none vote.
Let's have a roll call. This is a motion made to
Share all communication.
compel, the committee that has just been created must share all communications with all members of the governing body.
Councilmember Di Gregorio?
Yes.
You say yes? Okay.
Can't hear you, Mr. Di Gregorio.
Yes, share everything with,
Okay, the answer is yes. Okay, fine.
Aye,
Councilmember Luciano?
aye.
Councilmember Park?
No,
Councilmember Begats?
No,
Councilmember Katurbis?
No.
So the committee doesn't
Wow.
want to, the committee doesn't want, or our new councilwoman in the committee doesn't want to share everything with the council.
I'm
Let-
happy.
Let's let the public know that. I appreciate that.
Well,
Yes.
you can,
like, Mr. Luciano, Mr. Di Gregorio, you can't say I didn't warn you, right? I mean, this was gonna happen and it's happening and it's your.
Oh, no, I love it because, it just shows their hand to the public. That they don't care about, sharing the information with the very members that are elected that should be
Well,
notified of
If
it.
do
it'll,
not elect me.
if it'll make you feel any better, they're not gonna share it with me either, right? So,
Oh, yeah,
No.
no, we're not gonna share it with you, Mario.
I know you're not, because you didn't before, but you're not gonna do it now.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a motion?
Look,
Sure, go
Look,
ahead.
look,
I'd like to
let's start
make
from
a
the
motion
beginning.
to-
Wait, hold on, Mr. Luciano has
Or
the
just,
floor.
excuse me?
Mr. Luciano has the floor.
This
I'd
is
like to make a motion to make Ms. Borges, appoint Ms. Borges as our borough clerk.
second,
Suggesting invites chaos.
Okay, so there's a motion to make Miss, I'm not sure, so you want to promote her from deputy clerk to clerk?
Well, from my
I want to
understanding,
table that motion, please.
from my understanding,
I had another motion to make.
from my understanding, we
Okay,
have.
there's a motion to table, Mr. Luciano. Is there a second to table? Is there a second to table, as Mr. Katrubis?
Okay, so from my understanding, we don't have a borough clerk at the present time. And this is what was brought out to us at the last meeting. And I think
Is there a
that
second to that table?
Borges is doing the work. And
Mark
and
has
we
fallen
are
asleep, and-
required to have a borough clerk. It's advantageous to us to have a borough clerk. And I think that the person that's sitting right here with us doing the job should be the borough clerk.
I wholeheartedly agree with Councilman Luciano.
Okay, so that's fine. The motion was made. There was a motion to table that had no second. So and I'm not sure, like, if there's terms that need to be mentioned or what you're doing, but,
Mr. French, can you help us out with that?
Councilman, I would assume that would be using the same terms as was proposed at the last meeting.
Yes, sir.
what was the rest?
Can you recount those? This is not good practice. What are those terms?
I'd have to, hold on, let me find the resolution.
Maybe we should table it to look into it.
Well, that
Make a
could
motion
time
to
it
table
fast,
for now,
but
please.
we need to have a clerk.
If you have a motion to table, make your motion to table.
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
Okay, this is to table the motion to promote the deputy clerk to clerk. Can I have a roll call?
Councilmember Di Gregorio?
This is not a motion to table. This is
This is a motion to table, David.
to
I'm
table.
sorry, Mr. Di Gregorio, welcome to our meeting.
Not table. I just want to make sure I'm absolutely clear on everything. I hope you don't mind.
And Mayor, when someone else is confused on a vote, I hope you act the same way.
Okay, welcome to our meeting. This is a motion to table. You're up, Mr. Di Gregorio.
No,
You're not
No,
Mr. Di Gregorio. Mr. Di Gregorio,
No,
will you
no
answer?
to
we already
for yourself?
said no.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Borges.
Councilman
No.
Luciano? No.
No,
Councilmember Park?
Yes,
Councilmember Begats?
Yes,
Council President Katurbis?
Yes. Now I'd like to make a motion to repeal that motion about the communications. May I have a second, please?
You have to be more clear than that. I think even Mr.
I
Mensch.
don't-
It's quite
confused.
simple. Repeal that previous
I don't-
resolution. we had.
Guys, I don't know that you could actually repeal a motion in the same meeting that it was passed. Mr. Mensch, what says you?
Well, I'm sorry, but Councilman Trubus, I don't follow. I thought the motion about failed regarding communications.
Yeah, I want to repeal that.
So you want to repeal it and approve it?
No, I just want to repeal it. Just
Well, what do you mean? You can't repeal
cancel that
the
resolution. I think that there's too much confusion, and I just want to outright make a motion just to cancel that
I think
resolution.
it's
and
abundantly,
start fresh.
it's abundantly clear that.
There's nothing clear, Mr. Mario. I
Sorry,
want to
don't
cancel
interrupt
that
me.
resolution. It's quite
Please.
simple.
No,
Council
but
President.
hold on,
I don't-
just so we're all talking about the same thing, please, I have the floor. The
Okay.
motion was made to share all communications regarding this committee with all members of the governing body. And that motion failed. And now you want to repeal a motion that failed. I'm not sure what that gives you.
Never mind, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really
You're
make sense.
tired, okay.
Unless he doesn't want the public to see that it failed.
No, I just want the public to see it. No, it's not that. It's you guys are creating chaos, and I
It's
just want
part
to
of the-
take that
Creating
motion off
chaos.
the table.
You
as if
just did
it
two
never happened.
resolutions. I did one motion and I'm creating chaos.
It's
That's
fine.
what it
It's
is.
part of,
Guys, you are.
it's
I
part of
just
the
want to
record.
cancel that resolution. Is that
It-
possible, Mr. Mensch?
Guys,
Mr.
it's
Mayor, can I be recognized? I'd like to make a motion.
Tim, you
One
can't
second,
cancel
guys.
something
Guys.
that failed. You
I-
can't cancel something that's already failed. It's
It's
failed.
abundantly clear what happened. It'll be in the record. We have a very bright, sophisticated, smart public. They'll be able to read it and know what happened. Mr. Luciano, what would you like to say?
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kathy Scancarella.
I'll make a
as
motion to
our
table that motion,
Deputy
please. I just really want to
Administrator.
move
Well,
on.
one at a time, please.
I'll make a motion to
Luciano,
table
finish.
I
I'll make a
already
motion to
in
table
a
that
second.
Hold on a second, guys. Mr. Luciano is in the middle of a motion. As much as I don't really appreciate a lot of things he has to say, he's in the middle of a motion. Please don't interrupt him.
Well, thank you, Mayor. So I make a motion
No, no,
to
no, no.
appoint
Before
Kathy
you-
Scancarella as the Deputy Administrator.
I second that motion.
No,
All right,
no,
so the motion is-
I
Table that,
already
please.
second.
I'm sorry, the motion is to appoint Kathy Scancarella as
No, no,
deputy
no,
borough
not before
administrator.
this one.
I second the motion.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Let's have discussion. Now, this is in public and we're speaking about a borough employee. Mr. Mensch, is that acceptable? She has not been riced.
The appointment itself really should not be discussed at length, but I think there was a motion to table and a second as well.
Yes,
Okay, so there's a motion to table this. Who made the motion?
I thought it was Councilman Katrubis, second.
Yeah, I made the motion to table. Mark
Everything that
seconded. Can we
Councilman
take a vote?
Katrubis wanted last time, now he's voting against this time.
No,
Okay,
it's just.
I'm
it's-
sorry, guys.
I-
So
I
there's a
wanna
motion to
proceed without
table.
the
Can I have a
table.
roll call to table the motion to appoint Kathy Scancarella as the deputy borough administrator?
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No.
Councilmember Luciano,
Table, no.
Councilmember Park,
Yes,
Councilmember Begats,
yes,
Councilmember Katrubis.
Yes. Okay,
That
so
motion is tabled.
I'd like to make a motion.
Hey, by the way, if you had all these motions, why didn't you tell the clerk? We could have put them on the agenda and
Oh, yeah, that's
the
a good
public
question. I was busy working and fielding emails from you all day.
the public could have had this in front of them for. the
So
public
I'd like to
portion
make
of
a
the
motion.
meeting.
Can I continue with my motion, Mark?
Well,
'Cause I
here's
really
the
just wanna
thing,
move on
like
with the meeting.
now,
It's getting late.
I really think, because we have a resolution that requires us to do this, we need to open to the public because,
I'd like to make a
guys,
motion.
I'm
Can I
sorry,
make my
I'm
motion
sorry.
now,
Hold
Mario,
on a
please?
second. Oh,
A motion to table.
the public should be able to comment on everything that you're doing right now.
Okay.
And
I'd like to make a motion. Can I continue with my motion now?
Is there a motion to open to the public?
I motion to table.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion.
Now it gets.
Can I make my motion now, Mario?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion vacating the resolution that was reaffirming to keep William Wu's seat vacant, which was voted on October 13th, 2021, thus declaring this council's intent to fill that vacancy. I am concerned that we have had lack of quorum. For example, on 3/17, there was no quorum. On 3/21, there was no quorum. On 3/24, there
Y'all
was a
have to
special
show up.
meeting, and there was a quorum only after David and Glenn saw that there was going to be a quorum. There was no quorum on 4/13 and no quorum on 4/20. Quorum continues to be an issue, and this is restricting the borough from doing business.
Well, that's fine, but also you broke the law and you cheated the residents.
Well, can I finish with my resolution, please?
You did-
Can I
you
finish
cheated
with my
the residents,
resolution,
but you
please? Or are you
didn't-
going to continue, Mario?
No, just to be clear,
I'm
you're not
sure-
doing this because of a
You're not
quorum.
making my
You're
resolution
doing it
any
because
clearer.
you're gaming everything now. And
I'm
I
not
understand
gaming
what you're
anything.
doing.
I'm,
No. But Wu's seat was empty since August 30th, right? And then you vacated it.
you just asked for it
And
to be
you
filled
cheated
last
every
week.
voter who voted for Wu out of a seat for the last 9 months, right? And now you want to fill it. So go ahead, have your piece.
That's the impetus for making the decision. Public interest is best.
And
served.
by the way, in terms of quorum, I always show up. It was
Yeah,
you
so did
guys.
I.
No, you weren't always there. You
Wow,
guys.
you knew ahead of time I wasn't.
Well, you missed a couple. So look.
Yeah, but
I'm always
it was
here.
never the case.
If you're on this council, I don't
Moving
care
on,
where
Mario.
you are.
Mario, are you going to
how
continue to
important you
disrupt, or
are.
can I finish my
Let me just say,
resolution, please?
I don't care how important you think you are or where you are or what time of the day it is where you are. You need to attend these meetings.
All right. May I continue with the resolution, please?
Well, how many of those were regular meetings versus special meetings that no one was consulted on?
May I continue? with my-
How many of those?
May I continue?
Councilman?
Can I please complete my resolution?
How many of those? Okay, when you're done, I have discussion.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mr.
thank you.
Lucian.
Can I just please complete the impetus to making the decisions because the public interest is best served, the full and compliant governing body of 6 council persons in order to avoid scheduling conflicts and political gamesmanship. So where there's a faction of the governing body that's always there that can, so where there's never a faction of the governing body that's always there that can hold another
All right,
faction
so you want to vacate.
hostage.
You want to vacate.
No, it's important. It's important,
21
Mario,
dash-
because certain factions of this governing body held the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
factions.
I just want to be clear on what your motion is. You want to vacate 2021-193. You've got a lot of disingenuous reasons, Mr. Katrubis, but I wanted that vacated.
Well,
for
now you're
months.
thinking for me. Now you're thinking for me,
No, I'm
Mario.
just characterizing it. And Mr. Luciano.
You're not characterizing anything.
So is there a second? And then we'll have discussion.
Second,
Okay, discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Luciano. You had your hand up.
How many of those meetings that you like to say that were we have with your guise of falsehood that the reason why you're doing this is because of a quorum issue? How many of those meetings were regular?
No,
meetings?
guys, it's accurate. But go ahead,
No, it's a guise.
ask your question.
It's a guise, Tim. How many?
No, it's not a
how many of
guise. You know
those-
what's
how
a
many
guise,
of
Glenn?
those
When you're
meetings-
trying to hire an administrator
How
and you're
many
part
of
of a
those
hiring committee
meetings-
and you're not there. That's a
How
guise.
many of those
And you
meetings?
sabotage it. That's a guise.
How many of
All right,
those
one at a
meetings?
time. Mr. Luciano has
How
the
many
floor,
of
then
those
you can rebut.
meetings were regular meetings? Tell the public, because you're misleading everybody.
What difference does
Out
it
of
make
all
if it's a
those
regular
meetings, they
meeting
were
or a special
If
meeting?
you
Does
don't
it
want to
matter?
answer, I'll tell the public.
Does
All
it
of
matter?
those, out of all those meetings, one of them was a regular meeting. And every single one of those meetings, not one, not myself, I won't speak for anybody else, they can speak up. No one consulted with me whether we were going to be available for the meeting. So Councilman Katrubis can paint his picture, any way he wants, but the reality of it is that there was only one meeting that was a regular meeting that I
That's
advised the
false.
clerk 1 month before that I wasn't going to be there. So Tim now is feeling the power, and he's
I'm
going
feeling
to
the power. You guys have the power to vote.
throw all this away. So
You have the power to vote. The truth of the matter
thank you
is,
for not
folks,
answering
they
it.
want to take they want to create chaos. That's what's going on here. Okay, they want chaos, so the chaos can continue.
Yep, we want chaos.
Yeah,
Okay,
you.
so look, guys,
I've
guys.
worked very hard to try
That's
to
why
solve the
you, that's why
administrative
every,
problem.
you have
And the
like 4
professionals know very well that you
resolutions on
obstructed
the
that process.
You guys are
So
talking
let's
over
not
each
go
other.
there.
Can I just say
because we
something?
can argue about this in public.
Just for the public's benefit. All meetings are important, whether they're regular or special, because whenever there's a meeting, borough business has to be conducted. So if you're missing a quorum for one or the other, that's when the borough just grinds to a halt for the most part. So we do count on everybody to show up. regular meeting, special meeting, emergency meeting. Please, guys, just, and Rivka, please.
But Mayor, you have to admit the common courtesy of asking council members if they would be available. It
Listen,
should be, that's extending courtesy, not
Guys,
just,
listen,
not just
People
telling
asked
us.
if you were
Hold on,
available.
let me tell you something, guys. You have to have thicker skin than what you're displaying here, right? Because I've gone through over 6 years of this. And look, when Democrats are in control, I find out about a meeting like 3 minutes before, I show up. It's no big
I
deal.
wasn't on the council
Right.
then.
Well, yeah, I know. Look, but you guys have to have thicker skins, okay? People,
I have thick skin.
the public
I have
doesn't,
both
the
thick skin.
public
We've dealt
doesn't
with you
care.
for-
The public doesn't care. What they do care about is they want you to show up, okay? Show up. Mr.
Okay,
Di
can we take a
Gregorio.
vote, please?
Mr. Di
I have
Gregorio,
my
go.
hand up.
Go ahead, Mr. Di Gregorio.
So this is very disappointing in a certain way, expected in another way. And I will say that what speaks loudest this evening is the decision by the majority of the council to not share
That's
the
not true. I
committee's work with the entire council. This should echo in
to repeal it, but you
everybody's
didn't want,
ears,
that's what you wanted.
because I can't wait until the public sees the entire unredacted bill of Cadwalader and Mr. Councilman Katrubis's involvement and Mr. Mehta's involvement. It is absolutely abhorrent that we risked wasting $1 million, nearly $1 million on that, shows those bills alone, and they will be made public, shows the misguided, totally ignorant approach that this group had, that they're going to further. Mr. Katrubis has this pie in the sky, lordly opinion of himself that he can come and part the waters. It ain't gonna happen. Mark my words, none of us like it. But the more that you poke the bear, you're going to create, Mr. Katrubis, Fort Lee North. You're going to have skyscrapers here. You're going to have dense housing in the residential area, and you don't know what you're doing. And Mr. Kranjak, I will say, give him credit. You're a wiggly worm, and even worse, you're a snake.
So who are you calling a snake and a wiggly worm?
I'm calling Mr. Katrubis.
Well, why do you have to name call?
I commend you on the wiggly worm,
But are
but
you-
he's a snake.
But like, look, are you unable to articulate?
Were you
a
calling a
thought
snake?
and-
Were you calling a snake, David?
And can you, like, hold on, guys.
Who did you
Can
just call a
not-
snake? Hold on, let him finish.
No, let me
Who did you
finish.
just call a snake, David?
He called you a snake, but look.
No, I let him answer.
Can
it.
you articulate?
No, hold on, Mario, let him answer.
No, let
Who
me,
did you call a
I have
snake,
the
David?
floor. I have the floor. Can you articulate a position and a thought without name calling? I mean, this is not political theater. You go watch some other councils and other, the
Who
House
did you
of
just call a
Lords.
snake?
He called
David?
you a
Did just-
snake, and you know what?
No, I want him
You
to
kind of deserve it, okay? I gotta say, you
answer.
gotta.
Let him answer. Let him answer, though, Mario. Just let him answer. Let him answer.
You want to answer it, Dave? Because I kind of agree with you.
Head. He won't do it. He won't do it.
He did
He
it
won't
already.
do
He's
it.
on the record.
No,
Look,
he
I
didn't
don't
do
have to
it.
repeat
He won't
myself.
repeat it. Repeat it, David.
Go to town.
look, guys, get thicker skin. Tim, you poke a lot of people, and you're gonna get poked back. So just grow up, okay?
Repeat
So
it.
where are we in this?
Maybe he said it to you, Mario. He won't clarify that. I thought he was calling you the snake.
Well,
but to
maybe
be
he
honest-
was. That's typical of him.
No, he called him a wiggling worm.
Let him clarify his comment.
This is the guy. This
I don't
is
know
the
who
guy,
he-
as he told us, he's an
Who told
educator.
what? He
But
won't
this is-
say it now.
So parents, this
He's
is
an
the guy
educator, I know.
educated your children. He's unable to articulate a thought without name
Okay.
calling.
Can we move on, please? Let's just take a vote.
We need to take a vote. Councilmember Di Gregorio,
What are we voting on?
What we
Voted
voted,
to repeal
Feeling that
2021-190
okay.
193
Councilman
193.
Boosted,
No,
Councilman Luciano.
No, you don't want to give the public an opportunity, right?
Councilmember Park,
Wait
Yes,
till this goes public.
Councilmember Begats,
yes,
Councilmember Katrubis,
Yes.
Okay.
Wait till this
Okay.
goes public, David.
You're the one who's.
Disenfranchising the voter.
You know,
I think you're-
David.
I'd like to make a
David-
motion to
open.
adjourn, please.
So
David,
much.
David- No, we have, we have.
Make a
business.
motion to adjourn, please.
No, we have business.
Second.
I second it.
I
Second.
have a
we have
motion and a
business.
second.
We have business to conduct, guys.
There's
We're
a
not
call,
going
that's a
anywhere.
motion in a second.
All this-
We have
I did
to
second.
pay people,
Motion.
guys.
I'd like to
By
call
the
to
council
question,
majority.
please.
No, guys, we have to.
Motion to call the
actually-
question.
We have to pay
Make a
people.
second, please.
You don't have to.
Adjourn.
force.
I
Have a
did a
second.
second.
Motion to call the question, Mr.
There
Mayor.
we go. Take the roll.
Let's
call.
adjourn. I'm done.
You guys haven't finished your work. Where are you going?
Your council president voted to adjourn.
Take the vote.
Second.
Well,
Take the vote.
we have to pay our bills.
Please.
Not anymore. There's a motion.
They've
in a
been
have to
second.
paid.
pay
We
our bills
discussed that.
then.
all.
There's a
No,
motion
No,
in a second.
no. In respect to the council, you made a motion to do the temporary budget. I was asked if the temporary budget would pass, would the bills be paid? That is correct. However, you still need to approve the bill.
There's a motion and a second on the floor.
I don't care.
We
I
need
don't
to
care
pay
what,
our-
you
You
just,
guys think about what you did. Tim got what he wanted. Now let's take a vote.
Order, and I mean it. Stop it, everybody.
I
Close.
like
There's a
to-
motion in a second.
You have to pay, you have to
There's a
pay
motion in
people.
a second.
we're closing.
You have to pay the employees.
There's a motion in a second.
Guys, make a
Then talk to your
motion.
council president, see if he wants to remove his motion.
Tim, withdraw your motion, please. I didn't understand you.
Motion. And to pay.
Can't understand them.
You need a motion to pay vouchers. It's 22-120. And then I really don't care if you guys decide to go sleep.
I
Right
agree.
now, I'm gonna
Make a motion to pay the
call
bill list.
question.
All right.
Second.
Well, no, wait, you can't have a motion in a second on top of a motion in a second. Let's follow Robert's
You
rules
need
of
to
order.
withdraw.
Rescind
Mr.
your motion.
Luciano, stop. You need to
Well, do the
withdraw
right
your
thing,
motion
Mayor.
to it. You need to withdraw your motion to adjourn, Mr. Katrina.
Thank you.
I make the motion to withdraw it.
All right, so it's withdrawn. You don't need to move it. It's-
I'll withdraw my second.
Okay, so
I make
now-
the motion to pay the bill list, please.
Okay, so that's 22-120 is payment of vouchers. What's the total, Ms. Borchers?
Councilman Di Gregorio?
What's the total of that bill?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Here, I have it, hold on. It's 1,007,000.
It's one, yes.
$1,726,923.53. This is resolution 22-120. And Mr. Rath, is there anything else that I should be doing there?
No, Mr. Mayor, I think that's sufficient.
Okay, all right, so there's a motion and a second, and now please have the vote.
Councilmember Di Gregorio?
To vote on the polls.
Councilmember Di Gregorio?
No.
Councilmember Luciano?
No.
Councilmember Park?
Yes.
Councilmember Begats?
Yes.
Council President Katurbis?
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else on this agenda, Mr. Rath, that we have to take care of tonight? Because everybody seems to have other places to go. As crazy as it sounds.
I have one other request. It doesn't have to be done. I had requested in my memorandum to schedule a budget meeting on the 18th. So that's at the pleasure of council. Doesn't have to be done. Doesn't have to be done at all. I think that we're far enough on the process that you'll be getting the budget information on Friday. And this would be where you would bring in department heads to discuss their budget with you. You'd get an overview of the status of the town's finances and budget recommendations at that time.
I'd also like to make a motion for the second reading of the amendment to the budget bylaws. I mean, the budget bylaws, our bylaws for the cancellation that we did last month, and to continue it, we have to do it in 2 successive meetings. So I'd like to move that as a second reading to revise the bylaws for the cancellation of meetings.
You have to read.
This is a priority for you, right? Cancel meetings? Okay, look, you guys failed the
Second.
public because 90% of this agenda is not done, which means that you're all gonna have to come back for a special meeting.
There's
I
a
would
motion and a
suggest-
second.
I would suggest you just stay tonight.
I'll make a motion
There's a
to
motion.
please.
We never went anywhere. I'm just making a motion for the bylaws.
you're running to go home, wherever you are.
I'm not running anywhere. Your council president did that, not me.
Well, look, you guys
I'd like to
need
make
A
a motion
motion
to
and a
table
second
this,
on the
please.
table.
Call the question.
what's the motion?
For the second reading of the amendment to the bylaws for how
The
we can
table.
meeting.
You're tabling.
I'd like
it?
to make a motion.
All right, so there's a motion to table.
Okay, so that thing's
Table.
just gonna disappear.
Okay. Motion to table, is there a second to that? There's no second, Mr. Katrubis.
Table what?
To table,
Thank you for joining.
Glenn's motion.
There's a motion to table. That
It doesn't matter what it is, it's Glenn's motion, so Tim's tabling it. Even though it was his motion.
I don't know what I don't even know what motion you made.
His
I
motion to
just
change
want
the
to move on.
bylaws last month. So we have to have a second reading of it, but
Okay,
because I made it, the council
motion to-
president is gonna table it, so it just disappears. But
You
that's
know,
good, Tim.
All right, so you
You're
have a
showing the
table,
people,
second.
you're showing the public.
There's
your
a
true self.
second. Mr. Luciano, you don't have the floor, please. And
Yeah, I know.
all right, please. There's a motion to table. There's a second. Let's have a roll call to table.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No.
Councilmember Luciano,
Just to mention, this tabling, that means that we have to start, if the majority wanted to revise the bylaws, it starts all over again. Is that correct?
This is not an ordinance, it's just the bylaws. I think it has to be brought up at another meeting, so it can be brought up again at the next meeting.
Can you look at the bylaws? Because I think it has to be 2 consecutive meetings. So, I'm gonna vote no, but can you just look into that, please?
I will look, yep.
I think it's gonna start all over again, but that's Councilman Katrubis's, so I don't care.
Councilmember Park,
yes.
Councilmember Begats,
Yes.
Council President Katrubis.
Okay, by the way, guys, it's not even on the agenda.
Motion to,
It's not even on the agenda. So wake
Second.
up, read your agenda. You're voting on things that aren't even on the agenda.
It is on the agenda.
It's not there.
Before
have
we
a motion.
adjourn, I
Wait,
just
wait,
have,
wait. Go ahead.
I just have one thing to say, please, to
a second.
mention. Can you hear me?
Well, there's a motion and a second on the table.
Go ahead, Ms. Borchers, have your say.
There's a motion and a second on the table.
Mr.
Oh, no.
Luciano, please stop.
Follow the rules, Mr. Mayor, then have your council
Mr.
president.
Luciano, the fact that you run your mouth all the time doesn't mean.
Have
that
your
no one else is
council
speaking.
president rescind his motion.
Mrs. Borchers is
Follow
speaking.
the law.
Mrs. Borchers is speaking.
On Tuesday, May 17th is the last day to register to vote. As a courtesy, the borough will remain open until 9 p.m. to accept all voter registration forms. It will be time-stamped. And as part of my responsibility as a clerk, I need to drop them off to the county the next morning, which I will be doing so, and it will be during borough business hours.
Okay, there's a
Thank you.
distinction with what happened.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Borchers, thank you, but there is a distinction with that and the other thing that happened. Okay, what do you guys want to do now? You want to go through the agenda and do your jobs?
No, there's a
Well, I
motion
still
to
think
table
there's
in a
motion and
second, so can we
but
take
you
a
don't
vote?
follow the law or the bylaws,
What's the
so.
motion right
Or
now?
Robert's rules of
Table.
order.
Talking over each other.
Motion to adjourn.
What do you want, Mr. Mayor?
It's hard to understand you guys because you're all speaking over each other. Is there a motion to adjourn, Mr. Katrubis?
Yes.
Or is there a
And
motion to
Elizabeth
do your
seconds.
jobs?
Okay, Tim.
There's
Second.
already.
I don't know who seconded that. Who seconded the motion to adjourn?
Rebecca,
Second.
Begats, okay.
This is a motion to adjourn with most of the agenda not completed.
Roll call.
Councilmember Di Gregorio,
No.
you say no?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Councilmember Luciano,
No.
Councilmember Park,
yes.
Councilmember Begats,
Yes.
Councilmember Katrubis.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you, council majority. You show the public.
Good night, everybody.
To the
Thank you for
public,
your
Good night,
Thank you,
time.
everyone. Have a good night. I'm sorry, but most of the resolutions were not discussed tonight because your council is running home or wherever they're going. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Night,
Good night.
not ending. Oh, here we are.